Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
It's the first of its kind in Canada, and with it comes great responsibility.
A dramatic shift in the fight against poison drug deaths. Ottawa decriminalizes small amounts of drugs here in BC.
I kept telling him, no, don't stop, over and over and over again.
A new rape allegation against former Headley frontman and BC-born Jacob Hogard as he awaits a verdict in his sex assault trial.
You don't live in the past, you live in the present, and you look to the future.
And leaving a lasting legacy, BC philanthropist and billionaire Joe Siegel has died.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Anita is on assignment tonight. It is a dramatic shift in federal drug policy centered right here in BC. Today, Ottawa announced that small amounts of illegal drugs will be decriminalized in this province for people 18 and older to help tackle poison drug deaths. The CBC's Renee Filipponi has more on the change and what advocates are saying.
I couldn't, of course, talk about her, without crying.
It's been 6 years now since Deb Bailey's daughter, Ola, died of an overdose. Her body was found in a Vancouver stairwell.
And she started to use heroin, and that was really it for her.
21-year-old Ola struggled with addiction for years. Bailey says the shame made it more dangerous. And the move to decriminalize small-scale possession is just a first step in the right direction.
You're using and you can hold a certain amount, and we move towards stopping shaming people for becoming addicted. That could be huge.
Today, the federal government approved BC's request for an exemption from the law criminalizing drug possession.
This time-limited exemption is the first of its kind in Canada, and with it comes great responsibility.
The 3-year trial starts in January. It will allow adults to carry up to 2.5 grams of drugs like illicit fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine.
It reflects our government's agreement that substance use is a public health issue, not a criminal one.
It's a move police in the province support, but say there are concerns that need to be addressed before it's implemented.
I have some concerns around public consumption, expanded online illicit sales of illicit drugs, motor vehicle related offenses of people using drugs in vehicles, impacts to youth and children.
But advocates say these changes need to happen right now.
They talk about urgency, and yet it's 7 months down the road. That's another 1,300 people. Are you kidding me?
There are also concerns this does nothing to address safe supply or access to treatment. And politicians need to listen to people on the front lines.
The government should put more trust in us to come up with more solutions.
All in the battle against a crisis, killing on average 6 people a day in BC. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Vancouver's mayor says he's thankful the province and Ottawa have now reached an agreement. Kennedy Stewart says the toxic drug crisis is a needless tragedy he measures every week by the numbers of lives lost and saved. Though he didn't elaborate, he says one of those was a relative.
The week before that, it was 12 with 200 rescues. Week before that, it was 10. Week after week after week. 1 week, it was my own family member who was among those statistics. And you can't find a Vancouverite that hasn't lost somebody and is contained in those grisly statistics.
Stewart says he supports Ottawa's trial, saying drug users will be more likely to connect with an increasing number of health supports, leading to fewer interactions with police and organized crime. Surrey-born musician Jacob Hogard is facing another allegation of rape tonight, as a Toronto jury deliberates on charges related to 2 other alleged sexual assaults. In that case, Hogard is accused of groping a 15-year-old fan and, after she turned 16, of raping her. He's also accused in a separate incident of raping an adult woman from Ottawa. Now another charge of sexual assault involving someone who was 19 at the time. The allegations, all graphic and disturbing, are denied by Hogard. But his third accuser is speaking for the first time exclusively to the CBC's Judy Trinh. Her identity is protected by a court order and her voice has been changed.
She was a 19-year-old Headley fan who went to the band's concert during Kirkland Lake's homecoming week. She just wanted to talk music and jam with the lead singer. Instead, she says Jacob Hogard forced himself on her. Her identity is protected by a court order.
I kept telling him, no, don't stop, over and over and over again.
Hogard's lawyer says the singer is innocent and denies this allegation. In June 2016, following the concert, the young woman and other fans partied with the band around a fire pit near their hotel. She got drunk. That's when she says Hogard brought her to his room.
He tried to remove my clothes and I told him no, and he did it anyways.
She says Hogard took a naked photo of her without consent, then raped her.
He called me a dirty little piggy. I was in a lot of pain and I was crying.
And he didn't seem to notice the pain or the crying when he did that.
He completely ignored it.
She says Hogard choked and slapped her, leaving a red handprint on her thigh that lasted a week.
I felt powerless. I couldn't run away. I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck there with him.
The woman lives in British Columbia. For 6 years, she kept the incident a secret, but is now pressing forward with a charge.
I just want to tell my story, and I hope justice will be served.
After investigating the Kirkland Lake incident, Ontario Provincial Police charged Hogard with sexual assault causing bodily harm. His next court appearance is August 4th. Hogard's lawyer says he will vigorously defend himself and plead not guilty. Judy Trin, CBC News, Ottawa.
The family of a woman found dead in Vancouver's Shaughnessy neighborhood are shocked after discovering someone ripped down posters of her over the weekend. 24-year-old Chelsea Porman had been missing for a year and a half. Her family had put up her image all over the city, hoping to find her. Now videos show a prominent realtor taking posters down. As Benit Brach reports, Porman's family wants an apology, saying actions like this make it harder to get justice.
Sheila Porman checks to make sure posters placed in the Shaughnessy neighborhood are still there. They're meant to draw attention to her daughter, whose body was found in the yard of a nearby home. But on the weekend, some ripped the posters down.
You know, it's very upsetting, and I find it disrespectful, mainly, for people to be doing that when, you know, we're just asking for answers.
On Saturday, a rally took place in hopes of getting more awareness and answers to Chelsea's death. That same day, people were caught on video taking the posters down in the area of 33rd Granville. Among them, Randy Vogel, a Vancouver realtor.
I seen him rip down some of the signs really angrily. I'd asked him, why does this bother you? And his response was, it's vandalism.
CBC tried to reach Vogel multiple times by phone and email to reach him, but did not hear back. His employer, McDonald Realty, says they took immediate action and he is no longer with the company. Vogel wasn't alone. Volunteers also saw another woman take down a poster on Saturday,
saying that it was ruining the polls and that she pays taxes for the polls.
Sheila Porman says she does not want anyone to lose their livelihood for this incident, but she would like an apology.
It affects us more than they know.
Her daughter was found in late April at this Shaughnessy home. Chelsea's death has also raised questions on how police handled the case. Advocates say actions like this put Indigenous communities at risk.
Predators know that they can target us because they can get away with it. They're getting away with it right now.
She says too many have suffered for too long, and the efforts are needed for answers and ultimately justice.
These are the kind of people that are out there, and they are the reasons why our women go missing and murdered at a high rate.
Volunteers will continue to put up posters and raise awareness, all in hopes that answers will come sooner than later. Benit Brach, CBC News, Vancouver.
One person has died and dozens more residents are out of their homes after a fire at a North Vancouver housing complex. It broke out early this morning, just after 6 o'clock, at the Silver Lynn Apartments in Lynn Valley.
We were able to assist at the scene with evacuating residents from that apartment. There are approximately 70 people now who are without a place to stay tonight.
He says the coroner is now involved and officers are still trying to determine a cause. Vancouver police have identified the victim of the city's 5th homicide of the year. 19-year-old Naseb Faziel was fatally stabbed last Monday morning during a group fight outside a nightclub. The attack happened near the Gallery nightclub in Marpole near Southwest Marine Drive and Hudson Street. Faziel was taken to hospital where he died. Police have arrested a 24-year-old man in connection to the stabbing and say numerous people would have seen what happened.
Footage from the Gallery nightclub behind me shows that at the time that the homicide happened, there was a large amount of people in the area, and a lot of people would have had their phones out taking videos of the incident. So we really need those people to come forward to help move this investigation along.
Anyone with information is asked to call police. In Nanaimo, a 19-year-old man has now been charged in connection with an alleged homophobic attack back in March. Ryan John Seaman is charged with 1 count of assault. This is an image of Spencer Fry from that time, showing a bruised face he alleges happened when someone knocked him down and punched him at a party. The Vancouver Island University student says he was taunted and called homophobic slurs. It's now up to the court to determine if the accused was motivated by hate. Well, it's a bit of chaos for some commuters as the SkyTrain bridge between New Westminster and Surrey remains closed tonight. The shutdown began last night when a train derailed on the span over the Fraser River. No one was hurt, but passengers were forced to get out and walk. GP Mendoza spoke with riders navigating a transit headache.
It's pretty hectic, but it's good. It's good for foot traffic for the shop. I'm getting to meet a lot of people over here. And the weather's real nice, too. Good thing it's not raining today, right?
Have you heard what happened?
Yeah, I heard about the train, the tracks coming off.
Yesterday, just before 8 p.m., a failed switch caused a track issue, leading to a SkyTrain being partially dislodged from the track. Within 10 minutes, passengers were safely removed from the train and alternate service was put in place. This has never actually happened at SkyTrain before, where we've had a dislodged SkyTrain.
But then, to be honest, SkyTrain isn't bad, because every time there's a problem on the tracks or whatever's happening, there's always a backup, so they're pretty good with that. Yeah, I'm actually home on time. This is usually when I get home, so it's pretty much the same. It's pretty convenient, the bus that they, that they arranged for us.
It is what it is.
How long did it take you to get to work today?
About an hour and a half.
Normally?
Usually 45 minutes. It happens, it takes time, it's a track, so.
Guys over here have been doing a good job, man. However it is, stuff will happen. They got the teams over here, they got the guys over here, everyone's working hard, they're making sure people are getting home, and that's what matters, right?
Speaking of passenger headaches, the Sea to Sky corridor has been without public transit for 17 weeks now, nearly as long as the longest transit strike in BC history. But last night, bus drivers and other workers rejected a tentative agreement. It's prompting BC's Labour Minister to now push both sides to find a deal.
I have made it very clear that we're not happy, that they're not able to resolve this, that they must get back to the bargaining table. They must get back to the bargaining table, because that's where the agreement will be negotiated. Not in this House, Mr. Speaker, not anywhere else, at the bargaining table.
The Unifor members are off the job over wages, striking because they are paid less than their Metro Vancouver counterparts. Surrey City Council ended its weekly public meeting very early last night after calls for Mayor Doug McCallum to step aside ended with a bit of chaos. Council was just 7 minutes into the proceedings when some councillors asked McCallum, who has been charged with public mischief, to step aside. He declined, and that's when members of the public began shouting and applauding, with some calling on the mayor to step down or resign. Staff led the mayor and other councillors away from the meeting, which they plan to continue tomorrow. Minimum wage workers in this province are set for a 45-cent raise tomorrow. It may sound small, but the hourly bump means BC now boasts the highest starting wage of any Canadian province, ringing in at $15.65 an hour. Tomorrow's increase is the first to be tied to the province's annual inflation rate, which was 2.8% last year. A business icon in Vancouver has died. We look back on the life of philanthropist Joe Siegel after this. Thanks for staying with us on our commercial-free live stream tonight. These are heady days for Saskatchewan cannabis users. The price of retail pot is dropping as the number of stores continues to rise. There are 38 outlets in Saskatoon and 21 in Regina. But as Dan Zakreski tells us, it's not good news for everyone.
Yeah, this is not your grandpa's co-op, no.
Modern problems require modern solutions. For Jim Southam, it's heading a cooperative for cannabis retailers and offering the sort of variety the Woodstock generation could only dream of.
You know, the vape carts or gummies and chocolates, you know, concentrates if that's your thing, drink powder beverages, drops, ready to drink.
It's a good time to be a cannabis consumer in Saskatchewan, but it's not so good to be on the other side of the counter. Southam says it's a rough business.
Saturated, you know, it's cutthroat competition. It's, we're seeing, you know, just an influx of everyone wanting to get into the industry, you know, can now open a store.
Saskatoon has 38 stores now and should break 40 by this summer. An economist from the U of R says that's likely too many for the market.
Now we've probably missed our sweet spot where there's going to be a stable number of stores. And unfortunately, some of these retailers are probably going to find that this industry just doesn't work for them.
Southam says that the layers of rules also make it hard to run a profitable business. Now, while recreational cannabis is legal, the stores are not allowed to advertise on television, the radio, or in newspapers. He says that at least letting customers know where they can get the best deals would be a good start. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Family and friends are remembering a Vancouver philanthropist and billionaire who left an indelible mark on this city. Joe Siegel has died at the age of 97. Siegel started in business early, selling frozen fish door-to-door when he was 14. He served in the Second World War and helped to liberate the Netherlands. Siegel then opened an army surplus business in Vancouver, later bought out Zellers, and got a stake in the Bay. He also found massive success in property development and real estate. In 2017, a mental health and addiction center was opened in Siegel's name after he donated $12 million. Siegel was married to his wife, Rosalie, for more than 70 years and leaves behind a massive family. 2 years ago, Arlie-Ann Young met with Siegel as he said goodbye to his favorite lunchtime spot.
I could hold a mortgage on this hotel with the amount of money we spent here.
At 95 years old, Joe Siegel has only sharpened his sense of humor, but that was no joke.
Weddings, anniversaries. I had my 90th birthday here.
Oh, and the longest standing lunch reservation probably in restaurant history. 5 days a week for the last 43 years.
This place has really been what I would term as close to perfection as you can get. And besides that, they give me anything I want.
Siegel started going to the Four Seasons because it was next door to his office, but they quickly won him over.
Well, Joe's table is actually a little bit bigger than all the other tables. It looks the same, and you can pass it without knowing that, but it is a little bigger.
I said, this table is too small. My favorites are falling off. I need a bigger table. So the next day I had a bigger table.
Wider by 6 inches, made just for him, and the site of career milestones, like his 1988 purchase of Block Brothers Realty.
I made that deal right here over this table, and that was $150 million.
Lunches with Joe are fabled, so much so his friend wrote a book about it, filled with Siegel's advice, like this one.
Never tell a lie, period, ever, ever. You can make mistakes, that's one thing, but always be honest in your dealings and in how you react and respond to people's needs.
The hotel offered to let Siegel take his table and chairs, but he said no.
Why didn't I take them? Then they're pretty good. I didn't take them because once this is gone, it's gone. And you don't live in the past, you live in the present, and you look to the future.
Leanne Young, CBC News, Vancouver.
A lovely sunny South Coast day, but how long will the sunshine stick around? Meteorologist Colette Kennedy will paint us a province-wide weather picture after this.
Days, an average of 100,000 a day. 1.5 million people have already walked through the gates of Expo 86.
Okay, thank you.
You know, we're in the business of serving the public, and our job is to make sure that we know what they're thinking so we can do it better.
Did you dislike anything about Expo? Is there anything that you'd like to...
In a way, the people who have come these first 2 weeks have been Expo's in-house guinea pigs. Every day, some have been stopped on their way out and asked what they liked and what they didn't like.
The people like what we got. Now the key is the revenue and to make sure our costs don't get out of control.
There have been changes. Expo's monorail has been a great success, but the lineups to get on it haven't. Expo called in the Swiss manufacturer in an attempt to make the system run like clockwork. Expo was unprepared for the success of one exhibit, so many people have walked on, climbed on, jumped up and down on Highway 86 that the World's Fair now has a $200,000 repair bill, and it's not just the kids who love it.
It's kind of exciting to climb on some things that you normally don't get a chance to do.
It's mysterious, I guess.
There have been problems at night with over-exuberant partygoers. To curtail that, Expo has had to cut back on late-night drinking. Expo says the most important thing is that the people like the fair.
Oh, it's bright and clean and lots of colors.
Excellent. Just super. We've had a really good time.
And the most disappointing thing has been the weather. It has rained 12 of the last 15 days.
It's always rain in this country like this so much.
The most popular pavilion, the Soviet Union, 36,000 people a day. One problem has been expensive food, so the most popular place to eat has been McDonald's. Popular enough that here, people will sit outside to eat, even in the rain. Karen Webb, CBC News, Vancouver.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
On June 15th, support immigrant entrepreneurs with CBC Vancouver's Anita Bath at the Surrey Board of Trade's online entrepreneur showcase. Register today at businessinsurrey.com. And CBC Vancouver is a proud returning media partner of the Talking Stick Festival, June 12th to July 3rd. Enjoy and celebrate Indigenous art, dance, theatre, film, and more. Get tickets and learn more at fullcircle.ca.
The friendly and controversial match against Iran may have been cancelled, but Canada's national men's soccer team will be playing at BC Place this weekend, this time against Panama. Canada's soccer's decision to host Iran prompted plenty of criticism, much of it from the families of victims who were killed when Iranian forces shot down Flight PS752 more than 2 years ago. The Iranian national team says it will now try to get $10 million in damages through FIFA for the late cancellation. The match between Canada and Panama is set for 4 p.m. Sunday, right here in Vancouver. Johanna Wagstaffe is taking the night off, so meteorologist Colette Kennedy has our BC-wide weather picture. Colette, over to you.
Thank you. Well, as we've seen our weather pattern changing, some gradual improvement. Took a little more time for the Fraser Valley, and of course, still a few things that have bubbled up in the Okanagan, waiting for that to kind of calm down. But high pressure has nosed its way in, and it does make things feel a little bit better. In fact, as we go towards Wednesday, we're looking at, in many cases, one of the warmest days we've seen so far in 2022. It should be the case. In fact, for Metro Vancouver, almost 10 days ago, we had 19.6, and I've got us at 21 for tomorrow afternoon. So inland, we're talking more towards 25 to 26 degrees. But it is short-lived, and in some ways that is a good thing, because we are going to see that freezing level rising with these warmer temperatures. So it's just kind of for Wednesday, and then things settle back down. Should help in terms of snowmelt and keeping the flooding minimal, but something to be watching for. So just some of that convective stuff that bubbled up earlier because of that trough, then that high pressure makes for a nice start to the day, but the sunshine will lose it with some increasing cloudiness, still staying dry. And then things begin to change over late in the day Wednesday. I've stopped this at 3 p.m. We'll certainly see things bubbling up, changes for the island, and eventually, likely not until we get towards Thursday, that we'll see some wet conditions coming back into the city. A look across the province, though, there are many cases where, although there are changes here along the central coast and towards Vancouver Island, other areas where you're really seeing that high pressure taking over and giving you some very nice conditions. A look at the 5-day forecast shows how short-lived that is as we get into Thursday. At least the cloud cover could certainly see some morning showers moving through, and then those temperatures, they come back to seasonal, and we have to bring back that weather pattern where we're seeing consecutive days with that chance of rain showers back in.
Okay, thanks very much, Colette. You can call him a notorious escape artist, and he's gone missing from home again. The runaway tortoise Vonu has sparked a search on Vancouver Island, and his owners are very anxious to get him back. Take a look. He's typically found lying in the dandelions in the backyard of his chosen home. But while his owners were distracted on Saturday, he dug under the gate, backing onto a local golf course. The last time he hatched a daring escape, he was returned by course staff, but this time, no luck so far.
This is probably about the third time I've had to put out an APB out on him. He loves to climb, and he just loves to be out.
So if you're at Olympic View Golf Course and see green tortoise weighing about 3 kilograms that look exactly like that, just notify staff. Then let Vonu's family know. Maybe let him play through. Buy him around to the 19th hole. You can always find our news program online at cbc.ca/BC. Our next local news is right here at 11 o'clock with yours truly after hockey and the National. We'll see you then.